everyone to another episode. Today I'd like to talk about or mention the pointer, the portal to being present. We mentioned last week about the inner body, about the life energy that is continually flowing through our inner body. And today I would like to talk about silence. Everything comes from silence. Silence itself, the deepest silence, is consciousness, is formless. And everything we think, every thought, everything we take in this world is form, meaning it is created from silence, from consciousness. And this journey that we are on is not to get to a point where everything is silent and peaceful. It is that you are this silence. The life energy that is flowing through your body is almost an unstruck melody. Usually to make a sound you need two things. If you look at musical instruments, with a guitar it needs something to strum the strings. A drum needs something to make impact on the surface for the sound to amplify and echo in the drum. But there is a pureness that is available in every moment, and it is always underneath everything. And this silence can only be experienced when you are aware. When you are thinking or in the mind, you can experience brief moments of peacefulness or bliss. But usually this is when the mind for a moment is quiet. But this type of bliss is temporary. But when you tap into the pure silence, it doesn't matter if you're in a noisy city amongst traffic, if you're in a heated discussion with another person, the inner silence, the deep silence is always there. It's where everything emanates from and returns. And you can experience this now in this moment. If you hear a sound, it's come from silence, and the sound appears in our awareness, and then the sound recedes slowly. And this is a place that you can return to if you are in the mind and thinking. You can return to this silence. But because we are so conditioned with thinking, we believe that we are at rest. But really, when you become aware of thoughts, you can start to understand and know the energy each thought can generate. And as I've mentioned before, you're always in gear when you're driving. You are never at rest and you are never in neutral. And this is a place that I have been acting from. I have been resting in this silence, in this place. And I experienced this yesterday where at the moment I don't have my car with me, so I had to walk to my counselling session, and the walk was an hour and 20 minutes there and an hour and 20 minutes back. And so as I began to walk, I moved from a place of stillness. I wasn't thinking that I have another hour to go. I wasn't thinking about would I get too tired during this long journey. I was simply moving from a place of stillness. I was almost allowing my body to move on its own accord. And in this place of stillness or silence, everything is relaxed. There is no tension, or there is less tension in the body. And there's almost a flow to things. Even the simple act of walking. If I was walking with thoughts, then perhaps at the subtlest level there would be a bit of rigidity in my body. There would be a charge. Maybe there would be something constricted, but all of this is completely ignored, because when you are in the mind, thoughts are so loud and so consuming everything that is not as noisy as thoughts is missed. The subtlety is missed. And it's not the case where awareness is weaker than thought. It is simply being aware that thought comes from the stillness, that you are the place of where thoughts arise. You are not thoughts themselves. And Eckhart uses the analogy of a candle flame as being the mind, the flame of a candle. And then he says that being aware or being conscious is the sun. And he mentions the level of intelligence that can be accessed. In the sun, it is vast, almost limitless access, limitless intelligence, and with the flame, everything is narrowed and constricted, and you have limited access to true intelligence. And coming from this place of silence, every action is correct. When you are talking to somebody, if you are in stillness, if you're in this place of inner silence, and you allow the words to come from here, then there is an added level of depth to your words. Your words will carry across in a way that cannot be done through the mind. If you are talking to somebody through the mind, you may be trying to figure out an angle of how best to talk to somebody. Or you may realize that with this person, I have to act in this way. They know me from this way. And if I talk to this person, they know me in this way. We almost have different faces or different roles we play, depending on who we talk to. If we talk to a friend, perhaps there will be a certain role we play with that friend. We talk to a member of our family or somebody that perhaps intimidates us, then we may talk to somebody in a different way. If we talk to somebody we're trying to impress, then we will put on a role, we will act in a certain way. And in awareness, you can almost feel the stress, the energy it absorbs to play these different roles, to try and fit in with people almost, to try and please people as well. But then there is the place coming from silence where all of this is let go. And this is the place of true authenticity of who you are. And perhaps this could be something you try, whether it is through walking, from your center, from your true life energy, where your walking flows. You're almost allowing the walking to happen as if you've got a breeze behind you. There is an ease to it. Or whether you are talking to somebody, you can perhaps feel the silence before speaking. Connect to that silence, to that space where nothing is needed or required. There is nothing to fight. There is no mental position you need to get to respond to somebody. There is no thinking of, okay, what do I need to say next? And you can always feel the constriction of energy. You're trying to squeeze something out of something else, and you're trying to think, okay, what can I say to impress this person or make them smile? And you are coming from just your true, authentic place. And in this silence, from this place is where healing transpires. Because from this place, you are aware of what you truly need. You are not simply following the mind's desires, which are turbulent and are misinformed. Because often the mind's desires is not what you truly need. It comes from an unreliable place. When you truly listen from the silence, you are aware of what your body needs. Because you are aware of the subtleties, the subtle energies in your body, and that always goes through your mind and your awareness. If you are in your mind, then everything is unpredictable. You are almost reacting to thoughts, bouncing here and there, and it's as if the mind is dragging you around. Desires here, judgments there, opinions, and you are all experiencing it one after the other. You are in that constricted, narrow place, such as that candle flame. When your true identity, your true self, is so much vaster than that. Just imagine now the candle flame and then the sun. And it's even vaster than that. Limitless. But the mind has a huge gravitational pull to bring us in. And the reason why that's so strong is because it's the amount of years, maybe lifetimes, where we've conditioned ourselves to say that we are the mind, we are the thoughts, this is me, these are my thoughts. And it's not to say that we need lifetimes to undo all of this. Once we tap into the silence, we are supported by our true nature. We are supported to return back to our natural silence of who we really are. And in this silence, it doesn't mean that we are all the same and everything's robotic, and we all have our unique nature of who we are, and it's almost like a fragrance. Each flower has their own fragrance, and we do too. And perhaps for a moment we can just be aware of our inner silence. If there is any noise around you, just be aware of perhaps the gaps between the noise, or sense the silence underneath the noise, beneath of where the noise emanates from. Just sense that. From this place, you can witness the birth of thoughts. And you can choose whether to let thoughts float by, or you can choose to follow them, instead of just simply following each thought or being within each thought, one after the other. You can now see the thoughts. And you can almost sense the neutrality in this place. In this place there's no right or wrong, there is no left or right, there is no opinions this way or that way. There is nothing that is needed here. There is nothing to be worked out. Everything is so simple in this place. It's only the mind that brings complexity. Just simply one thought can cover up this vast silence and bring confusion. So as I walked yesterday, I walked from my center. And what I mean by center is just almost as if the life energy within me knew what to do. So as I was walking, I was aware I was walking, but there was no effort there. I was simply resting in the silence as I walked. I was aware of my feet touching the ground, each footstep, my arms swinging naturally, and almost my body was being propelled forward. And in this silence, you're a witness to the unfolding of things happening. See, the river of life is flowing. Things are going to happen. Life is unfolding. But in the mind, in the egoic mind, that feels it is separate from everything, you almost try and fight against this life flow. You resist. When something happens that you don't like, there is resistance there. There is complaining, there is a story, there's suffering. And there's no understanding, there is no awareness of this river that we call life. And each moment this universe is creating more and more things, creating more situations for our life as it unfolds. creating thoughts, creating more forms, animals and humans, dissolving forms, dissolving thoughts, dissolving physical forms of humans and animals. And this is the cycle of creation. Then there's a sustainment, where things are sustained, and then there's a dissolving of form. And all of this takes place within the silence that was always here, and ultimately is what everything will return to. And it is the mind that fears the silence, but it can never experience it. Which is why the mind fears death, because the mind knows itself as this temporary body, this temporary, almost temporary outfit that we are manifesting for this short period of time. But it believes all of this to be real, and really it's just simply a wave in the ocean coming to the surface for a few moments and then returning to the ocean again. And within this silence there is a natural patience, natural compassion, natural caring. It's almost as if you don't have to try and be good. This is all taken care of in that place of silence. It's almost as if you're attuned to the world, to the vibration, to the frequency of the universe. So if something needs to be done, that will come up in your awareness, and it will be taken care of. If it's not your place to act, if it's not possible, or it's not presented itself for you to do something, then that's not resisted as well. There are no shoulds in this place of silence. I should have done this. If it could be done, then it would have been done. If you were able to act, if you were able to know this piece of knowledge, or if you were to be able to do things differently, they would have been done in that way. In this sense, there are no mistakes, there are no accidents. There is just a simple unfolding of life. And the river is flowing, and we can go with it and be free of suffering, or we can fight it at every turn. We can try and swim against the current of life, and we can suffer. The reason why this silence is not available for most people is because they live in a place of heaviness and complexity, which is the mind. And within this complexity, they're trying to rearrange something that it's always going to remain complex. And it's only in this place when you step out of the mind, you step into awareness, and everything can be seen. Everything is, there's almost a knowing in this place. And there is an acknowledgement that this is your true self. This is the place of authenticity. And you can almost see the stage of life. And you can see almost your character, the mind identity playing its role. And in this silence, your life won't stop. You will still be doing things. You'll be using your mind to do things. You'll be engaging, but you'll be aware of this silence beneath everything. You won't be caught up or swept away by all of these things that have swept us away so much and so often. So you will be involved in a world of form because that's our reality. Our life energy is manifested into this human body, so we are part of this play of form, of doing things and taking things in through our senses, but we are aware that we are simply witnessing all of this, that we are not it, we are not the temporary forms that arise in front of us as thoughts, and we are not a temporary form that people perceive, that we can see as our outer body. We simply pervade all of this. And perhaps you can even go a step further and maybe see the silence in other people. The silence that is always there, that is where everything generates, everything is created from. Maybe you can sense their life energy within another person. Not just the surface level of their personality, but you're going so much deeper and experiencing their true essence of who they are. And perhaps you can experience relating to somebody in this way, where you're not talking to their identity, you're talking to something deeper within them. And in this case, you're not reacting to the image you have of that person, the image that contains their history of all the things they've done to you. And this could be good or bad. It could be an image of how great this person is. And you may think in the mind, okay, I have to be nice to this person because they're nice to me. Or if this person's not so nice to me, you have to remember or bring up the image of all the things they've done, so you know, oh, I better not be too nice to this person. But all of that is just simply washed away. And you are now talking, or you're now connecting to something vast and limitless. You're seeing almost yourself in this person, and yourself being the stillness and the silence. And it is only when this silence is experienced, then it is only known of how noisy the mind is and how dysfunctional the mind has become. And even in these pauses, just simply allow the silence to come into your awareness, or just simply be aware of the silence that is here in this moment. And even with external silence, if it's very quiet where you are, then that can be a great assist to bring you to almost amplify and bring you into that silence. And there is nothing to be worked out here. There's nothing to be evaluated, nothing to be judged. That is simply thoughts and mind. In this place you just simply are. There is no person here, there is no identity, mind identity. And in this place there isn't even gender. There is just simply formless silence that has no shape, that has no labels, no name. And perhaps if there's ever a time when you're questioning whether to do something or not, perhaps you can connect to this silence and see what arises within that. Use this silence as your compass, and then you will know what to do. And that could be to do nothing. It could be just simply to let it go. Or in this silence, a decision will be made, and it won't be a decision that needs to be worked out. You'll just simply know, oh, I know what to do now. There's almost a clarity. And this silence cannot be found by effort, by will. It can only be found by letting go. It can only be found by not doing. but simply being. Well, thank you for joining me for today's episode. And I wish you well on your journey into the now, to the present moment. And I will speak to you again very soon. Take care. If you have an urge to support this podcast, you're more than welcome to visit my Patreon page, and you can find the link in the description of the episode. There you will find a little bit more information about myself and my journey and my purpose with helping others. You can also share and review this podcast. These are two simple ways to create awareness and spread these teachings, and it will also help future listeners to discover this content as well. Thank you.